Hello and welcome to the last webinar in our Birch in Action Manager series. I'm Kylie Murray, the Client Success Manager here at Be Online Learning, and today I'll be taking you through all the things learner management as a manager and in the Birch Learning platform. Let's get into it. So just going through some of the topics of today. So we always like to briefly revisit the building blocks of Birch, as you may hear some of the terms throughout the webinar. We'll then move into the platform and look through the learner's profile in more detail. My aim for you with this webinar is to become more familiar with the terminology we use and to feel confident in moving through this area in particular of your Birch platform. There is a chat box available for you to use during this webinar to ask questions. If there's time at the end, I'll answer them. Otherwise, we'll address them in a separate email. So to refresh our memories, the 4 key components in Birch that make it easy to administer your learning are goals, which are like learning paths, and they're made up of elements. Elements are the types of learning activities we have, such as e-learning content, on-the-job assessments, or events like workshops and webinars. Lastly, we have connections and tags. These provide the flexibility in how you create and deliver your learning to groups and work teams, and how you can enhance reporting and display any featured learning in your goal catalogues. We may mention some of these components today, but we won't be looking at them completely. Okay. So as a manager, you have access to your team member's profile from the team view by clicking on their profile picture or their name. This will bring up the learner context menu where you have the snapshot of their key attributes or the connections that are assigned to them. You can see their compliance and CPD. So this is just a nice little snapshot of all the information they've got. This basically dictates what they see in their goal center. By selecting our Go to Goal profile from the Learner Context menu, you'll be taken to this new tab in your browser, and it will display the learner's profile. You'll have 5 tabs available to you, each with different settings that influence how the learner interacts with the Birch platform. In most organizations, I'm hoping, you'll have a LMS administrator who handles these settings. So while we're going through them today, please reach out to them after this session if you have any questions specific to your ways of working in this area, or questions about making changes. So if we start at the top, you can actually see their whole compliance for their goals by clicking on this grey arrow. It expands out this top section. If you have CPD points enabled on your Birch platform, you can click the figure and pull up that information again here for them. There's an export to PDF option, and also you can apply a date range if the particular thing you're looking for isn't appearing. You also have access to that original learner context menu I showed earlier, just by clicking on the little passport or profile card up here. You can keep this compliance section open throughout your ventures through these tabs, or you can just press the grey arrow to minimize it again. So working our way through the tabs, the first one we have here is our settings. So the fields that appear in this tab usually reflect what is populated when an account is created. So this may be, an account may be created through an import or an API, but basically it's information that's generally received in some way or another from your HRS. depending on what the LMS administrator also has made available to you on this page, you may see a great deal of information or some substantial information like here. But they also have the ability to limit the information. So I'll just do a live change and refresh. And so sometimes they may only just let you see a few things. So always just check. If you are wanting to know some details, it's not there, always touch base with them. Alrighty. If you do have those fields available to you, so I might just turn them back on. In particular, the fields such as job positions and divisions, or organisation departments, or however the terminology your area uses. If you are seeing those fields, you can edit them and add to them, but always be very mindful. These are often the most commonly used connections to deliver the training automatically to a learner. So if you make any changes here, this will affect what they see and what they have access to. So, as I recommended before, check in with the relevant administrators before making any changes here. And if you're permitted to do so, you can make those changes, but please check in with them. Something as simple as changing their email may actually affect how they log in as well. So it's always be mindful. And if you are permitted to make changes, make sure you click Save Profile. The next tab we have is our HR settings tab. This is a very limited area for you to edit, as you can see by the items that are grayed out. But it is important that you at least have visibility of this. So again, this is likely information that's been imported or from an API connection from the HRS. And at least you have the visibility and you can highlight any discrepancies to those system administrators. The one field that you can see isn't grayed out that you may have access to edit is this status. But again, this impacts how a learner, or if a learner actually has access to the platform. So if they're active, they can log in. But if you perhaps select inactive or anything like pending activation or password reset, you're actually preventing them from getting into the system. So be very mindful about this status field. You may actually also see when you come into a learner's profile that they don't actually have active, but they may have unreportable. They have access to the system still. They still receive reminder messages for anything that is overdue, but they will not appear in any compliance or completion report. When you run reports, there is an option for you to filter or only see the unreportable staff as well. Generally, it's accompanied by a reason. So we say this is usually used for people that are on long service leave, maternity leave, they might be on long-term sick leave, return to work. Your administrator would have set up and created these status labels, but generally you'll see them an unreportable status along with a reason for them being so. Again, check with them if you are thinking about making any changes to this status, because it affects how they can access the system and log in, but it also, unreportable in particular, affects the reports and the data that is produced in those reports. Next, we have an option like in your calendar. It's the learner's calendar, but you can then view it and see it. You can see any due dates or elements that are due for renewal, as in your own calendar. If we go all the way to November, Bronwyn Stats has something due there. With the events, similar again to your calendar, you can access the information from the call out menu on the side. Okay, that's pretty simple with the calendar. With the goal menu, goal profile, this allows you to view any goals that the learner may have outstanding. You can also drill down into the goal to view the specific learning elements by clicking this grey arrow. And then also you can identify anything that's overdue, but we'll go through some of the particulars here in a moment. So while we've got the tabs here, you also have, when you go onto the goal profile, these little buttons here. By clicking on this goal registration button, you will generate a new little pop-up. And if you can't find the goal on their in progress or completed section, you might want to try and register them into it. So you would just type your first 3 or however many letters until you see the goal that you want to put them in. And then what happens is you can say, yep, we want to put them in a stream, and you can add it to their profile. Sometimes there may be a goal that you're looking up that has multiple streams in it. So if I go to this one, you can see here, there's a few options here that may apply. So when you are registering someone into a goal, you will be prompted to pick the stream to put them in. If there's just one listed, like in the fire example just before, you would click that and add, there's no problem. If there's multiple, then just be sure you know you're adding them to the right stream. And if anything ever really does say a rule on it, maybe just avoid it. Generally, there's a reason for that rule. It could be that it's set to only release or open up for the learner after a certain amount of days, or there's a prerequisite in another stream that they must complete before having access to it. Again, I'm repeating myself, but just check in with your trainers and your trainer administrators or system admin about what goals and elements should be there, shouldn't be there, and check both the in progress and completed section. And we'll go through both in more detail in a moment. I'll back out of that. So yes, so let's go through the in progress. So by default, when you come to a person's goal profile, you'll automatically be taken to in progress. So this is everything that Bronwyn Stipes has in progress. Here we have a visual representation of how much of the goal she has completed, and this is a percentage value of this visualization. This is not connected to the compliance. This is not her compliance. That's up here, and we can see here 33% across all of these goals and across both of these tabs. She's only 33% done of what she has to do. Next to that, we have the due dates of the goal, or if there are multiple elements that are due or overdue, it'll be the earliest date. This can be applied, this can be based on any time allotted or renewal setting to the stream or the elements. If there is the nifty little red exclamation mark, the learner sees this as well as yourselves. That means something is overdue, and we can expand out the goal to identify what in particular is overdue. So while Bronwyn Stipes has 4 elements open, ready to complete, she's only overdue for 2 of them in this goal in particular. Now, some goals may have headings for the elements that are grouped. So here we have must knows heading, and here we have Australia. If it doesn't, it might just be there's one group like here in this goal for must know, then they just appear on their own. They don't actually have a heading. So if you do see some headings like this, and in particular ones that have a little checkbox next to them, you can click on this, and it just, what this means is that Bronwyn has completed anything or everything in this stream that is they were required to. And if you click on it, it brings up the record of what they have done. You'll see a green tick. If they've completed it before and it's perhaps a renewable element, there'll be a number here, which if you click on that, it brings up the records of completion. And you can click it all again to minimize it out the way. Another little thing here on elements is if it's a bit more generalized, if a blue line appears under the name, that generally means a description's been added about the element. So if you click on that, the description pops up and gives you perhaps some information. It could be who it's been designed for, or just about the objectives, as this one is. Close that. If you see a cancel button, so up here, we've got cancel buttons against some of these goals. Basically, that means what it means. It's going to cancel them out of that goal. And any elements that have been completed as part of that goal will go into another little section that I'll show you under completed. There might be times when you're in a goal, well, firstly, if there is no the cancel button does not appear for a goal that has been automatically assigned. So Bronwyn has connections that dictate she must receive these goals here. So no one can cancel her out of them. You can't, she can't. When there is a cancel button, that means that she's been registered into it, or she's chosen to commence that goal from the goal catalogue. So that's why you might see it on some and not others. The other place you might see a cancel button, which you need to be really careful about, is when it's against a stream title or name here. So here's the cancel button for the goal. As you can see, it lines up with the goal title. And here's the cancel button for the stream. Again, if you cancel them out of the stream, any records of completion like this will sit in another section under the completed tab. And then she will not have access to this stream and likely the goal. But again, just be mindful, so mindful when you're making changes to a person's profile. Make sure there's either communication between yourself and them that there's changes are happening, or administrators have requested that change be made. While we've got the ability to do it, sometimes it's best not to, and to leave it to those that know specifically what's happening in that space. Before we move to the completed goals section, actually, there's a few more things I want to help you understand what we see here. I'll open up here. So in a goal, when elements are completed, you may see a few different icons. No matter where you are, if it's in progress or completed, they all mean the same thing. So I'll address some now, and then I'll address some in a moment when we move to the next section. If you see a review button, this is against a completed element. This allows you to go in and see what it is they completed. So for a valid driver's license, most likely this will be a document update. Yep. So you can go in and view this document and the attachment without affecting any of the records or the comments. If you see a show instances button, so here, this allows you to see what their status is in a particular workshop or event, sorry. In this instance, Bronwyn's on the wait list. You have the ability to cancel them out of this. You could add them to the wait list again, or you can request and approve a registration into the instance. Sorry, I had a mind blank then. You've got those options, and again, you can cancel that request if you need to. The other option is, so we went through review and then, okay, so the review is when a document review is finished. You might see upload document. So this is where you have the ability to upload a document on behalf of the learner. So if you click on upload document, it will take you into that space, and previously we've uploaded them, but you can go through those actions. We do have the document reviews and on-the-job assessments webinar recording available that takes you through this process. All right, let's go to completed and we'll go through some of the other icons you saw before. So when we've clicked on the completed button here, we see the visualization again. It's showing as 100% and the bar is nice and full. It'll have the most recent completion date listed here. And this is that extra section I mentioned about when you cancel someone out of a goal or a stream, and the element has a record against it, but not necessarily anywhere for it to live. Obviously, the goals are its little house, and these are not in any goals. If we expand out a goal in particular, so we've got the Birch training guides. We can see here it's got the completed date, it's got the green tick, and that's when it was done. Now, depending, some elements and goals may have a certificate on them, they may not. If you do, you can view that here. So it automatically generates a certificate of completion for that element. And if we have a look at the goal version, it should say what the goal was. Yeah. Again, these are set up by your administrators. So if there is any issues with the certificates that are being generated, contact them. But as you can see, there's one here. This goal doesn't have any certificates, but it does have a similar icon here, which is the force renewal button. So what this basically does is it re-registers them into the element. It supersedes this record. So it doesn't remove the record. It just starts the goal again. So if I just click force renewal, it will give you a notice to say it will invalidate compliance, which it doesn't remove that completion record. As I said, it just makes them ready to do it again. It disappears from their completed section and moves to their in progress. So we should now see the Birch training guides. And we can see now that there is one record against that completed element now. So again, be mindful when you're clicking the force renewal button. It affects the learner. They may not understand or know that they have that redone. And it also can impact on reporting if people are looking at completion or compliance reports. And that is that the learner has they also have access to the certificate icon. They can view them, print them, and save them as they wish. And the last button under here is external achievements. If this has been enabled on your platform, then you will see this button. If it isn't there, then that hasn't been enabled. It's not a glitch or anything. Just contact your admin and see where that stands and if it's necessary. I guess another thing here with external achievements is hopefully you've been provided or have access to information about what goals and what is being stored already in the goals and elements of Birch, of your Birch platform, and what falls out of that. So generally the way we see external achievements is they're external to a lot of the compliance or mandatory training that is delivered via goals and elements in this space. So hopefully you're told about when that happens. So it could be that randomly someone's gone and got their white card or a license for using forklifts, and they want to store it somewhere. And that's kind of where external achievements would come in. So hopefully you've got that information about what can be stored where and how to store it. It does allow you to add achievements. So once you've created the record, so I'll show you this working confined. Here's the record that's been saved for this particular achievement, external achievement. You can then add an attachment. Now, none of those do, but this one does. So if we scroll down and view attachments, we can see here that the certificate for this particular external achievement is available. Learners can do this, managers can do this, trainers can do this. You can report and access this data. So again, be mindful, follow the procedures or follow the information available, as if something is incorrectly popped into here, it can impact reporting or any transcripts even, which is what we'll move into now in the last few minutes of this webinar. Here we have the whole picture of the learner. We want to make this, Birch is a platform, a holistic platform, so we can encompass all items. Our transcript includes external achievements as well as goals and elements. You can do a high level filter and just see goals here, or you can just see everything. You can also, if you want to be particular about what it is you're looking for or wanting to see, so if we want to look up events, you can select here from the type, make any modifications to the date range if you need to, and apply that filter. So here we can see that they have attended certain web events, but they are not yet registered for an orientation workshop. So that's something that you can follow up and action. Just get rid of that. Obviously, there sometimes is a lot of records for people, so you can amend the number of items that you see here on this screen. You just go here, and then basically that just increases to lots and lots of records on their transcript. You can filter by certain things. You can do completion dates. You can do statuses, so if they've been anything successful. Again, all of the filters here are also available here. And you can also export their transcript, or they can also export their transcript to PDF. And if you apply any filters at the beginning, when you export, it will retain those filters as well. Before you go, everyone goes. We have our trainer and trainer admin webinars starting in a fortnight. So please log into your Birch service desk, head to your community. Under the community, you'll see the webinars forums. If you aren't already, hit follow. And then you will see our most recent post. I did it 2 days ago. And it lists all of our trainer and trainer admin webinars that are coming up, the dates, times, and then the registration links you can click on to hopefully be there for that, or pass this information on to your trainers and trainer admins if you feel it will be beneficial to them. That concludes the webinar and the actual Birch in Action Manager series. I thank you for your time today and that of the previous weeks. If you did manage to attend, take care and have a safe week and weekend. Thank you. Bye-bye.